Sarthak, why don't you lead us into Namokar Mantra today?
नमो हरिहंतानां नमो सिद्धानां आयर्याणां नमो वचायणां नमो लोये सवसाव ऐसो पंच नमोकारो सर्व पाव प्रणाशनो मंगलानां च सवेसिं परमं हवै मंगलम्.
Okay, we start with Namokar Mantra because Namokar Mantra is the greatest Mahamantra of us, of Jains. And in this mantra, we are expressing our gratitude, our obeisance towards the Panch Parameshti Bhagwan, right? The five Parameshtis. What are the names of the five Parameshtis? The names are first, Arihant Bhagwan, Siddha Bhagwan, Acharya, Upadhyay, and sadhus, the Jain sadhus. We are expressing our obeisance towards the Panch Parameshti Bhagwan, and we start with a Namokar mantra to bring our focus to the thought. Okay, okay, okay. So we'll start with we are going to cover very interesting topic today. You can say it is a primer into the how biology is defined in Jainism. How about that? Right. So this is like this may sound as a lecture on science, in particular biology, because we are going to cover the Jeev and Ajeev, the topic of Jeev and Ajeev, who are the living beings and who are not the living beings. In the term for living beings in Jainism is what is called as Jeev. What is it called? Jeev. Okay. And the inanimate objects or non-living things are referred to as Ajeev. What are the words, Arush?
Jeev and Ajeev.
Yes, Jeev and Ajeev. All the human beings that you see around us, that you interact with, of course, are living beings. So are the animals around us. So are bugs. So are snakes. So are, minute organisms, microorganisms, and of course, the plants. Right. So in Jainism, there are elaborate topics dedicated towards the various life forms. There are different way of classification of life forms. One of the most common way of understanding life form is by the concept of gati, right? Gati is a particular life, that a particular living being gets, and it could be of four types. Manushya Gati, human beings, that is, right, is one. Tiryanch, which covers all the different type of animals. That's what is covered as Tiryanch. Then there are Narki Jeeves. So Jeeves who are born in a Narki life form and who live in one of the hells. Basically, they are hellish beings. The loose English term for it is hellish beings. And then there are celestial beings, or what we call as Devgati, right? Those who are born as elevated souls or Devs, right? These are the four Gatis. Now, when I'm saying Gati, I'm obviously talking about the Jeeves. So the soul take different type of bodies, and the bodies are what defines um, the gati, right? The kind of body they have, accordingly, the classification is that of gati. That's one way of classifying life form or jeeves. There is another way of classifying life form, and that is based upon the number of sensory organs that they have, or what is called as indriya. What is it called? The word for sensory organs is indriya. So that's a second topic we are going to cover today. We'll start with Jeeva Jeev, and then we'll cover a small topic on the sensory organs. Now, when we say sensory organs, that's, and again, as I said, like, different life forms have different set of sensory organs, and accordingly they are classified. So we'll cover that as well. Okay. So let me share my screen so I can play the video, and then we'll go from there. Share video, important thing. Let's see. Okay, so first we'll start with Jeev topic. Okay. Let me play this video and I'll apply my interjections at the right moment, okay? And please pay attention, okay? Your objective is to have your focus here and learn from what you are here for. You already have lots of information. We all have. We are living in an information age. We have more than what we actually need, right? I think more important for us is how do we, apply this knowledge towards our upliftment, for the upliftment of our soul, right? So knowing the concept is important, and then application of those concepts, right, towards our life, how do we conduct our life, is more important. Okay, so let me play it out.
Kids, have you ever wondered what are all these things that we see around us? And so many people who can feel and talk? Confused. What does this mean? Well, anything in this world can fall in one of the two buckets. It could either be a living thing or a non-living thing. Living things are those who have the ability to know and see. These living beings are called jeev.
So what is the two words, very important two words, what is that living beings have that non-living beings don't have? Go ahead, Udyan.
Feel and see.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for doing that. Okay. To 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 see and to
Yeah.
seek, to know and to see and to know, right, is janna or dekhna. Basically, these are the words, right? Now, where does this janna and dekhna comes from? There is one very, very important attribute of that differentiates or separates living beings or jeeves from ajeevs, and that most important quality is called as our consciousness, or what is called as chetana. What is the word for it? Chetana, right? So chetana is that one quality which is responsible for the janna and dekhna, for the knowing and for the seeking or seeing, right? That's all because of our chetana. For that matter, Jeev are those beings or those things which have Chetna. Anything that has Chetna is a Jeev. Anything with no Chetna is no Jeev. Right? So if somebody says, hey, I'm this body, one can say, yeah, it looks like this body has Chetna. It's so it appears to be a Jeev. But think of it, a body dies, right? Right, one point I will die, at one point everyone around will die, and they will take up another life form. So that's another thing to be very mindful of, that it is chetana is not that of the body but the soul. That's what jeev is, right? So it is the jeev that or the soul that resides in the body that is providing the chetana. Once this bondage or the bond of between the body and the soul ends, the soul moves away and takes up another body, right? And the chetna goes away with it, right? So that's very important to understand. Now, another thing you have to also understand, we all are living in the age of GPTs and large language models and AI and whatnot, right? You see these artificial intelligence constructs slowly and evolving themselves, getting evolved into being more intelligent and more intelligent and more information driven and whatnot, right? But yet, anything and everything they have is more given, like it has been fed into them, it has been provided from outside. On the contrary, human beings, and for that matter, all the living beings that you see around you, all have chetna on as their uh, most important internal quality, right? So that's the difference. There are these qualities which are natural to a particular dravya, which jeev is, right? We all are jeev. For us, it is our innate quality. Our chetana, our consciousness is our innate quality. On the contrary, when we talk about these artificial intelligence toys, right? These constructs, they don't have the consciousness on their own. They are kind of faking it in a way. They are getting more interactive and whatnot, yet they are not having a chetna of their own. So that's one thing you have to always understand, right? We all, because we are a soul who have taken this body in this life form, you know, we as a soul have our own chetna, our innate chetna, and that is the differentiating thing. Okay, so I'll keep going. Meka, thank you for joining.
They can experience joy and sorrow, meaning they can feel emotions like happiness and sadness. And apart from these, everything else is non-living, meaning a jeev. Interesting, right? Okay, now think about your best friend in your mind and tell whether your best friend is a living being or a non-living being. See, one who can understand different color through their eyes, who can distinguish different types of music through their ears, or can feel happiness or sadness. They are all jeev or living beings. Okay, so now
Can your toy feel happiness and sorrow? No, right? It appears like a, it has been made to appear like a living being, but it does not have, it cannot feel joy and sorrow because it does not have consciousness of its own, right? On the contrary, if there is a baby that's about size of a toy, it surely feels joy and happiness. If there is a baby of monkey, it will also feel, joy and sorrow. If you hit a small puppy, they will get hurt and they will start crying, right? Because they have a chetna of their own, which is being applied into joy and sorrow, probably only in that thing, right? And that's why they feel this pain and whatnot, right? So that's another thing to be understood, right? Our toys, we may start treating because of our affection and whatnot, treating them like real things, but they are not real things, right? They are just a concept. They are ajeev things which have been made to look like ajeev. On the contrary, if there is a small bug and somebody squats it down, obviously it will die, right? Or if you hit a puppy with a stone, that obviously the puppy will feel the pain, right? If somebody kills a animal for food, obviously you are causing pain to that animal, right? The animal will feel hurt, right? So that's another thing we have to be mindful of, that it is jeev. Our reaction towards jeevs uh, should be driven by the fact that they are equal to us in their consciousness, and we should treat them as equals, right? Okay.
think about animals like cows, horses, dogs, cats, etc. Are these living beings? Yes, they also use their eyes and ears to know and understand things. And do you know when the calf is taken away from the mother cow? Then they feel sad. Hence, they are also jeev, a living being. Now, look around and tell me, what are these birds, flies, cockroaches, ants, honeybees, or tiny creatures which are present all around us? Oh yes, even these tiny creatures are living beings. That is jeev. Let us see how. So there are flies. They can see the light with their eyes and are attracted towards it. Similarly, houseflies sit on the sweet food items because they like the taste of it. They can taste just like we humans can. And when we move our hands over sweets, then the flies fear and fly away because they are also scared for their life, just the way we are when we sense danger. Now tell me, these plants and trees, are all these living or non-living beings? Yes, they too feel cold and heat, and they also experience happiness and sorrow. Do you know there is even a plant called Venus flytrap, which when an insect sits on it, the plant gets to know and immediately eats it. Wow, right? And what about tables, chairs, toys, clothes, or car, or jewelry, or money? Kids, these are all non-living beings. because neither these things can understand anything, nor can they experience the feeling of joy and sorrow. Okay, do you know even living beings are of two different types? One being Sansari and other being Mukh.
So, important thing, right? What is giving us the joy and sorrow? What is that one thing that is giving us joy and sorrow? Meka, what is responsible for our joy and sorrow? We all are Jeeves, right? You, me, right? Do you accept that? Are we Jeeves?
Yes.
Right. So what is giving us the joy and sorrow or feeling of pain or pleasure and all that?
Um, I don't know how to pronounce the word.
It is our Chetna. What is it?
Chetna.
Our Chetna, right? Our consciousness, our ability to to think, to know is our Chetna. है ना? And then this feeling of knowing and thinking, the feeling of knowing and seeing is what defines our Chetna, right? And that's what we have, right? And that is what gives us joy and pain and whatnot. Now, our Chetna may be not fully exposed, as in it may not be, it gets abstracted by the karma particles that we have accrued because of our deeds, and that defines how it is manifested. So some jeeves, like human beings, have a very mature chetna. They can apply it towards, they can use it for rational thinking. But then there are other beings whose chetna is only applicable for minor things like I'm hungry, I have to save myself, let me run away, somebody is attacking me, or I have to attack somebody because I need my food, and so on and so forth. So depending on that, different type of jeeves are classified. Their acts are defined by the manifestation of their chetna, outwardly. This other concept that we are going to touch upon is very important, right? When we say jeev, generally speaking, jeeves are classified into two categories broadly at a very high level: Sansari jeev and Mukta jeev. Sansari jeeves are those jeeves who are in this cycle of life and birth, right? So we take birth. When a birth happens, basically it is a soul, getting attached to a karmic particles, forming a body. That body evolves, it grows. Ultimately, at some point, the body dies, right? And the soul moves away. When the soul moves away, it takes up another body, and so on and so forth, right? So it just moved from one like gati to another, to another, to another. And that has been happening since from the Adi, and will continue happening until Anant, unless we make conscious efforts. Remember the word conscious. It is coming from our consciousness. Until we make the conscious effort to free ourselves from this bondage, this cycle of life and birth. So, accordingly, the jeeves are classified into two categories. Sansari jeeves are those jeeves who are always transmigrating, from one life form to another. Mukt jeeves are those jeeves who have freed themselves from with their own efforts and have attained moksha. So when we say somebody has attained moksha, what have happened to them? They have actually become mukt. The literal meaning of mukt is free. They are just free souls. They are free from this cycle of life and birth, right? So when Mahavir Bhagwan, the thing I started with, Diwali being the day when he attained moksha, what exactly happened with his soul? His soul got free from the bondage of life and death, and his soul got elevated to become a siddh or a mukta jeev, right? So these are like synonymous term. A mukta jeev is also what we call as siddh, right? So when we say panch parmishti, right, the second parmishti, we express our obeisance to is siddh bhagwan, right? Mukt jeev is nothing but a siddh bhagwan. All mukt jeevs are siddh bhagwans. All siddh bhagwans are mukt jeevs, right? So any soul that is free of all type of karma particles, and is now only the only transformation happening, the paryay happening in it is shuddha, 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 which is pure, 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 pure. That's what a mukta jeev is. Sansari Jeev, on the contrary, are those who exist in these different gatis, the gatis that I talked about, the four gatis, right? The Manushya Gati, the Tiryanj Gati, the Dev Gati, and the Narki Gati. They just keep transmigrating through these different gatis, or what is called as gati. The English word for it is life form, right? So that's what Sansari Jeevs are. So first classification of Jeev, Sansari and Mukt. Okay. Any question on this? Okay, let's keep playing them.
Mukt are those who are pure souls. They always stay blissful and peaceful. They neither take birth nor they die. They don't have any feelings of sorrow, etc. Okay, now tell me, who are these Mukt Jeev? Do you know of any? Correct! Siddh Bhagwan. So the second one is Sansari Jeev, who experience and undergo birth, death, old age, that is aging, joy, sorrow, and similarly other emotions. We human experience all these things. So what will we called? Correct, Sansari Jeev. Mahavir Bhagwan said that kindness towards all living beings is the true dharma. We should be kind and caring towards all living things. Like how you feel sad, others also have the feeling of sadness. So we should not make anyone sad. Like we don't wish to be harmed or hurt, similarly others also don't want to be harmed or hurt. So we must also not harm or hurt anyone. When someone talks to us politely in a good manner, don't we feel nice? So we must also talk to others humbly so that they can also feel nice. The way we feel nice when we go to our friend's house and they share their toys with us, we must also share our toys with our friends so that they would feel nice too. We'll do so, right? Jai Jinendra.
Make sense? How many of you were aware of this concept? Udyan, is it something new for you, or you were already aware of it, beta?
I was already aware of it.
Very nice. Good to know that. How about you, Arush? Arush, beta?
No, I didn't know this before.
Okay. Did you find this concept interesting?
Yeah.
Okay, good. How about you, Sarthak?
I knew already, but I learned more.
Good. We always learn, right? Whenever I am also imparting a lecture, I always learn. If nothing, I learn how to deliver a lecture, how to explain a concept in a new way that it draws the required attention and understanding, right? So we always learn. Good. How about you, Mika?
No, I didn't know of this before.
Okay. Good. So now you know it, right? And most important is, how do you connect your knowledge, right? Remember how I started? I started with the expression of Panch Parameshri. And I started there knowingly or unknowingly. But look at that, right? When we are talking about Mukta Jeev, we actually are referring to Siddh Bhagwan, right? And in our Panch Parameshris, in our Namokar mantra, we do say Namo Siddhanam, right? So Siddh Bhagwan and Mukta Jeev are one and the same thing. That's a connection. That's how our brains work, right? We have to keep our knowledge in a very connected form. Right? And that then only we'll be able to use it more effectively. Right? So that's what we should do, right? These are not like different things. Everything is connected. And we should know how to draw those connections. Same way, when we are talking about Sansari Jeevs, right? And we talked about when a Sansari Jeev becomes a Mukta Jeev, that particular event is the event of attaining moksha. That's exactly what happened on Diwali day. When Bhagwan Mahavir attained moksha, he became, from being a Sansari Jeev, right? His soul was a Sansari Jeev. until that point when the Nirvana happened. Once Nirvana happened, now Mahavir Bhagwan is also a Siddha Bhagwan, isn't it? Right? When Mahavir Bhagwan was living in that life form, he was Mahavir Bhagwan or an Arihant. Once he attained moksha, now his soul is also a Siddh, right? And there are, there are not just 24, not just 24 Mukt Jeevs. There are uncountable number of Mukt Jeevs as well. All of them together are either called as Siddh, are called as Skevli, or called as what do you call it? The Mukt Jeevs. Okay, different words, synonym words, all meaning the same thing. Make sense? So if tomorrow you say Namo, instead of Namo Siddhanam, you say Namo Muktanam, it's fine with me, because you are exactly saying the same thing, right? You are, instead of saying Namo Siddhanam in a particular way, you are saying it as Namo Muktanam. Although do not recommend that, but the meaning will yet be appreciated. It's because it's one and the same thing. Okay. Now let's talk about the five senses. Now this whole concept of five senses is actually applicable to Jeeves, and in particular to the Sansari Jeeves, because it is the Sansari Jeeves who have bodies, and this senses are a function of a body, right? So that's why before we talk about the classification of the Sansari Jeeves based upon the sensory organs, we have to have understanding of what these sensory organs are, right? I mean, sometimes people say there are 6 sensory organs, and I'll cover that. It's because the 6th one is not actually an organ. It's a manifestation of our Chetna in a very different way. So I'll cover that. But for the simplicity, let's start with the basic concept of the 5 senses, okay? And how those 5 senses are then used to classify the different beings, different animals, okay? So let's go there. Let's see. Let me play the video.
Jai Jinendra kids! Today I'll tell you some knowledgeable and interesting things through a story. This story is about a child and his mother. So children, listen to it very carefully. Once upon a time, a child was unable to sleep. So he ran to his mother and told her, "Mom, I cannot sleep." His mother said, "Why couldn't my sweetheart sleep today? Come here. Today your mother will tell you a story." "Hooray! A story? Mom, which story?" "Son, today I'll tell you the story of a great country. The great country is our body itself." "What? Mom, is our body also a great country?" "Yes, son. Our body is similar to a great country. It too has many different things as a great country has. Do you know our body country too has a king? It's our soul or Atma." Ma, what is our soul or Atma?" "Son, our soul is the energy of our body country. As our TV works using electricity, which is its energy, similarly our body country works using soul's energy. But both of them are invisible to us." "Oh, our soul king has a prime minister too, which is our mind. As a country has a prime minister who controls and monitors all the works of the country."
So this mind is what I was about to explain, right? The 6th one, right? There are 5 senses and then there is mind. Okay, so always sometimes, loosely people say, oh, there are 6 senses, or it's not 6th sense, okay? It's our mind or man, right? You would have heard this in many conversations with your parents, apne man se hi kar raha hai, apne man se this ho raha hai. Man means mind, right? It's not your brain, okay? There is difference between man and brain. Man is manifestation. Brain is just an organ, right? The consciousness of that's expressed through not just brain but your complete body is your man, right? That's what man is all about, or mind is all about. So people loosely in the physical things, they say, oh, brain and mind, they are one and the same thing. They are not. Okay, mind is different. So first thing first, we are starting with the prime minister. It is your man that's like, guiding your, it's this whole country analogy that is coming into the play, or main a monarchy, right? So there is a king, your soul is the king. Until the king is there, the kingdom is there, right? When the king moves away, what is left is an inanimate object. It's a body that degrades itself. It's on its own cycle of getting created, evolving, and then getting distracted into other type of Ajib particles. That's not us. That's just one life form. In one life form, we have taken this body. In my next life form, I may have a different body. Who knows what? If I do great things, I may end up becoming a dev in a devgati, or if I don't take care, if I make wrong choices in my life, I may end up becoming a hellish being, or a tiryanj gati jeev, that is a animal, a puppy, or a tortoise, or a turtle, who knows what, right? Or a tree for that matter. That may be my life form for a longer span of time, that is duration, right? So again, the point here is, in a particular life form, it is the soul that is the king. That life form is there, it's existing there because of the soul being there. The king being there defines the kingdom. No king means no kingdom. Then the next thing is the prime minister, which is your mind, right? Mind is the one that controls the functioning of your body, right? That's what it's a manifestation of your consciousness. It's an outward manifestation of your consciousness. That is what mind is. है? Then comes the different sensory organs, which we'll talk about in a bit. The concept is making sense to you, Arush, Sarthak, Mika, Udyan? Okay, great. Let's keep going.
Similarly, our body country also has a mind as the Prime Minister, which controls and monitors all the functions of our body country. As we operate our TV with a remote control. Understood? Now, as a country has its army. Similarly, our body country too has 5 armies. We call these armies as 5 senses or Panch Indriya.
Topic for today, right? 5 Indriya, the 5 senses. Now, the best way to learn these 5 senses, you don't have to even go through this video. It's like this. Do this. Touch. That's your touch, right? Touch, taste, smell, seeing, and hearing. These are the 5 senses. That's all, right? And you go from bottom to top. Touch, taste, smell, seeing, and hearing. Right? Make sense? These are the 5 senses. Now, we are using the organs. Organs are just an expression of it. Sometimes people don't have those organs, yet they have that sense, right? For every, human being, they are born with 5 senses. They may not have the outward organs for it, but within their brain, there is a reflection of this outward organ out there, which is yet present, right? So that's another thing one has to understand, that while these organs are the outward manifestation of the senses, they on their own are not everything. There is a big, network of nerves and everything, the complex system that defines the organism, all the way to your brain, and from there to its reflection on the consciousness, or the other way around, the reflection from the consciousness onto that sense. है ना? So that's one thing you have to understand also. So let's keep going.
These 5 senses are present within our body country. Oh, really, Mom? Is it actually like this? Yes, my son. The first sense or Indriya of the body country is our skin, by which we can touch anything and everything. This skin is also called the touch sense or the sparshan Indriya. Mom, what is this touch sense?
Sparsh is
Son,
the word,
do
okay?
you remember that in the morning you apply cream on your face? How does that feel? Soft, soft. And son, when mom pulls your ear in order to punish you, how does that feel? Sorry, mom, don't punish me, it hurts. I shall not repeat the mistakes ever. So all these feelings are understood by the touch sense. Got it? Now, you will know about the second sense of the body country. And that is our tongue. Sweetheart, with our tongue we can taste things. The tongue is our taste sense or rasna indriya. Mom, what is this taste? Son, do you remember when dad buys you a chocolate and you eat it? How does that feel? Sweet, sweet, yum, yum. And when I give you medicine when you have fever, then how does that feel? Ew, yuck. So son, this is what is called the taste sense. Now, the third sense of our body country is the nose, with which you can smell anything. So the nose is also called our smell sense or Gran Indriya. Do you remember when dad puts on the perfume? How does that feel to you? Nice, nice. So son, we know about the good and bad smell by the nose, which is the smell sense. Now we will move on to the fourth sense. That is our eyes. Eyes are the most beautiful creation of our body country, with which we can see everything. Eyes are also called the Vat sense or Chakshu Indriya. Son, with our eyes, we can view the God in the temples and also watch TV. Do you get it? Now, we will see the fifth sense of our body country, the ears or Karna Indriya. Ears are one of the important creations of our body country too, with which we can hear everything. With ears, we can listen to the good lectures of the monks' pleasant voices, and we can follow them too. Yes, Mom. So children, as the army protects the country from bad people, threats, and attacks, similarly, you have to use your five senses army in the right way. And you also have to control your soul, king, in such a way that it protects your body country from all the diseases. In the morning, viewing the God with your eyes. Listen to the pleasant sermons in the temples with your ears. Apply holy water on your forehead, and throughout the day, watch good things with your eyes. Listen to the good things with your ears. Do good things with your body country, and prosper in life. Jai Jinendra.
Okay, right? Simple concept, but very powerful, very foundational concept. Okay, I put some notes in the chat for you to look at, right? So for every indriya, right? First and foremost, right? Although this video defines it in from a human being angle, but you can equally apply it for any other living being as well. Like if you look at a cow, you can apply the same concept. Now, very important thing, right? Eyes may not be same for all the animals, right? So it may sound like it's one and the same thing, but different animals, different life forms have different expression of the indriya, है ना? Some of the animals don't even have the lower form animals don't have certain senses also, and that is the scale we use for classification. There are organisms that only have expression of one sense, which is the sense of touch, right? You remember those microorganisms, some of them, even for that matter, the vanaspati kai jeev that trees are, and so on and so forth. they only have a sense of touch, and that's about it. They are called as one sense organs, monosensed organs, or ekendriya jeev. Then there are organisms which have two senses, three senses, four senses, and then fully grown organisms like human beings, like lion, tiger, whatnot, cows, buffaloes, they have five senses, right? What differentiates us human beings from these other animals, for that matter, other type of five sense organisms also, is in addition to the five senses, we have a fully grown mind. Our mind is a, is provided with the capacity to rationalize things. That's why we are called as Sanghi Panchendri. We are Panchendriya Jeeves, okay? Panchendriya Jeev means five sense organisms. And in addition, we are, the other qualification is used for us is Sanghi. Sanghi means in addition to the five senses, we also have a fully grown man, right? That man is what acts as a prime minister controlling our body. है ना? So that's why we say five senses plus man. Very important, right? That's from a human angle or a Manushya Gati angle. Not every living being in a particular life form, in a particular Gati, has all the five senses out there. Forget about even man, right? Like I said, there are these lower form animals which do not have any sense but just touch, right? So that's what you have to remember. Okay. This is what we wanted to cover today. Very quick topic, है ना? Any question that you have? Okay, by the way, this concept of the Indriya, five Indriya, is this a new concept for you, beta? Mehika?
No, but I've never heard of I've never heard of man as one of the senses.
Yeah, it's not. So that's where, let's be very clear. Let me clarify it one more time. It is not one of the five, but it's in addition to the five. है ना? Okay, good to know that. Sarthak, how about you?
I knew about this, but I didn't know about the man.
Man part, right? So man is important, है ना? Man is the expression of your chetna that gives you the power, or that gives you the rational ability, right? So that's why human beings, being born as a human, is such a it's a virtue, it's a blessing. It's a blessing because you, in addition to those five fully grown senses, you also have a man that you can apply to know and to see and to know and to rationalize things, है ना? And that's why it is only, you'll be surprised that moksha can only be attained from manushya gati, from being a human. No dev can directly go to moksha. All the Dev Gati Jeevs also have to be first born as a human being, and then only they can go to moksha. Because when you are born as humans, you have this man that is very balanced, right? And with that balance, you can apply it towards penance, you can apply towards the right causes, and ultimately shed all the karma and attain moksha. Not even a Devgati Jeev can attain moksha. Narki Jeev, forget about it. Everyone has to first take a birth as a human being. That's why we all should value our life. Very important, right? We deal with so many things in our life. We'll keep, have a lot of stress as we go through our process, our studies, our relationships, and whatnot. And anytime and every time you are, on the cusp of making a decision, always value your life, because it takes many life forms before you attain this life form of being born as a human being. And that also, being born as a Jain person in a Jain, practicing Jain family, is such a virtue. We should take, some sense of pride on it. Okay? Right? So keep that in mind. Acha beta. Chalo. Now I think we can end the session today early. So we'll do a, Jinwani Stuti and end the session. जावाणी के ज्ञान से सूझे लोकालोक, ते वाणी मस्तक धरूं सदा देहूं धो। हे जिनवाणी भारती माँ तो है जपूं दिन रैन, जो तेरी शरणा गए माँ सो पावे सुख चैन। उत्तम क्षमा बेटा and Jai Jinendra. Thank you for attending the class today.
Uttam Shama. Jai Jinesh.
Jai Jinendra.
Uttam Shama, Jai
Uttam
Jinendra.
Shama, Jai Jinendra.